You see many graduates of Qingbei University and Peking University returning to China to seek jobs, or some wealthy businessmen returning to China to live broadcast and bring goods. Please don't think it's strange, and don't think it's the prosperity of the motherland that attracts talent back. In fact, they were forced to return to China because they were looted in the United States and could not survive. Why do you say that? Because the Silicon Valley Bank of the United States suddenly declared bankruptcy. According to statistics, the Silicon Valley Bank of the United States has about 1.5 trillion assets. Among them, the Chinese contributed 1.2 trillion. It is no exaggeration to say that Silicon Valley Bank was established for the Chinese. Now that the pig has been fattened, the US has started slaughtering it. Silicon Valley Bank first secretly notified the rich white and black Americans to transfer the money in advance, and then announced that the bank was bankrupt, and all the funds would disappear. The whole process took less than 48 hours, setting a record for the fastest bank bankruptcy. Some rich Chinese have deposited the wealth they squeezed from the Chinese people into American banks, thinking that they could enjoy the rest of their lives in the United States, but in less than 2 days, all their wealth disappeared, which is really gratifying. Among these rich Chinese is Pan Shih, a famous real estate tycoon. It is said that he lost a total of $2.5 billion this time. Wang Xing, the boss of Meituan, is lucky. Only 60 million exists in it, and most of them have been transferred away before then. The most pitiful thing is the Chinese middle class in Silicon Valley. Most of them are high-achieving students from Peking University and Tsinghua University. The wages and bonuses were all gone in one fell swoop. They contributed their wisdom and strength to the United States, and finally even contributed their savings, so they are willing to take a light life. I wonder if the US government will award them a special contribution award. This is not the scariest thing. There is something even scarier, that is, Wells Fargo, one of the 4 major banks in the United States, also shows signs of bankruptcy. There are many Chinese who log into their bank accounts to check, and it shows that the deposit has been cleared. If Wells Fargo goes bankrupt like Silicon Valley Bank, then the rich Chinese will go crazy. I still remember that a few months ago, when the stock god Buffett transferred all his deposits in Wells Fargo Bank, many rich Chinese laughed at him, saying that Buffett was running away like a booth. In fact, they don't know that this is not all grass and trees are soldiers, but a foresight. This is actually the pig-raising plan of the United States. First, let the US dollar raise interest rates to attract a large group of wealthy Chinese to save money, and then declare bankruptcy. This makes the rich Chinese can't have a temper, and the dumb eat cactus. It is said that these wealthy people who became poor overnight claimed that the motherland is full of money, and the big deal is to return to the country to make a fortune again. With their ingenuity, it is not easy to make money in China. Nowadays, the live broadcasting industry across the country is booming, and these rich Chinese may choose to start with this fast-growing industry when they come back. They will build themselves under various names, attract traffic, and then realize it step by step. Everyone, remember to keep your eyes open when watching the live broadcast. Here I implore every brother and sister who have read the article. For the safety of our Chinese people, please forward it to more Chinese people to see. Let more Chinese people pay attention to China's current situation, and support all patriotic groups. We often say that we must dare to tell the truth, but this is not complete. To be precise, we must not only dare to tell the truth, but also be good at finding and upholding the truth. The truth is just to find the facts, but more importantly, we have to seek truth from the facts. Telling the truth is hard, and telling the truth after the truth is even harder. To be precise, insisting on speaking the words of seeking truth is the correct attitude we need. Comrade Mao Zedong said, "The truth is often hidden behind the phenomenon." If only the phenomenon that can be seen by the eyes is the truth, then there is no need for science. The essence is invisible to the eyes, but the phenomenon can be seen. The essence needs to go through a long process before it can be realized. It is meaningless to break away from the main road and blindly study the details of history. This is the fatal shortcoming of many of our current scholars. Reason. The right way is the righteousness mentioned by Mencius. Only then can there be reason. The first essence of learning is not to grasp the facts, but to know the facts. Knowing means knowing the big truth in the facts. Both Confucius and Mencius scolded those who don't know the truth and only pay attention to the details, calling them little people. Confucius said, "Words must be believed, deeds must be resolute, and you are a small man." The Analects of Confucius Silu, Mencius also said, a grown-up man does not need to believe his words, and his deeds do not need to be fruitful, only righteousness lies in it. Mencius, Leuxia, Confucius and Mencius are not to prevent people from telling the truth, but to make people not to tell the meaningless truth. It is better to tell the truth than to tell the truth. It is true to say that a stick is bent in water, but it is not the truth. Telling the truth takes courage, but telling the truth takes brains. The truth is not enough to just tell the facts, but also to say that the yes in the facts are the truth, and only the truth can give meaning to the truth. Truth without meaning is as meaningless as fallen leaves without seasons. 3. The real meaning of telling the truth should be to encourage the speaking of the mind. The former talks about practical facts, while the latter talks about seeking truth. It is about the direction and destination of cognition. The truth without seeking truth is the same as seeking truth without seeking truth, that is facts, and in many cases it is bad. Telling the truth is for the sake of success, not for bad things, and the truth that is not used for success is just nonsense. Take things far away, and take things close to you. When talking about human affairs, you should first test your truth on yourself. When talking about state affairs, you should first test your truth at home. Only the truth that has been tested with one's wealth and life can be applied to state affairs. For it is better to speak the truth than to speak the truth. Before major events, especially those that determine the fate of the country, Sima Qian's problem is that he talks too much before the soldiers set off. What Sima Qian said was the truth, but not the correct one. What was correct at the time was not personal right and wrong, but the threat of the Huns. The country must build a consensus to form an absolute force that overwhelms and defeats the Huns. 5. Some scholars only stop at right and wrong, which is far from enough. Some things such as Wang Ming's line before the Battle of Xianzhang know that they are wrong, but if the other conditions for solving them are not mature, solving them may bring more problems, so we have to let them go. After the Battle of Xianzhang, the conditions and timing for resolving Wang Ming's route came to fruition. Scholars who only know right and wrong but don't consider how to solve them don't talk about these conditions. Their minds are full of knowledge about what is right and what is wrong. This kind of knowledge is basically useless for national politics. That would be harmful. Children know that the emperor does not wear clothes, and many people actually know that. Why not tell the truth? It is a political need. When parents quarrel, the most common sentence children say is, "If I had left a long time ago." Why parents don't leave? It's not that they dare not, it's the need of the overall situation. He doesn't think about these things. The child is cute, but he can only listen to what he says, not accept it. The learning of many of our scholars is as simple as that of a child. I often say that it is not difficult to tell the truth, but it is difficult to say the right thing. Correct words are words that fit the overall situation. The rights and wrongs of husband and wife are established under the conditions of marriage. If a divorce is made to find out who is right, then right and wrong are meaningless. Non-divorce for the country, it means that it cannot be divided and disordered. In most cases, it is the overall situation, which is higher than right and wrong. The former requires extraordinary courage, the latter requires political judgment. For this reason, I wrote a special article talking about tolerance and harmony between academics and politics. Mao Zedong said that Du Fu's poems are political poems. What? Du Fu has a sense of the overall situation. For example, in Du's poem Happy Rain on a Spring Night, the first 4 sentences tell people, do things at the right time and at the right time, good rain knows the season, when spring happens, moisten things silently. The last 4 sentences tell people, the road is tortuous, but the future is bright, the wild path is dark, the riverboat fire is bright, persevere, after the wind and rain, looking back, the road has been fruitful, dawn sees the red wet place, Huakongjin official city. The truth was born first, and the lie was born later. Since then, the superior truth has always despised the lie, saying that it has no conscience at all. In this regard, the self-abased and cowardly lie was a little unconvinced, and began to laugh at the truth, saying that it didn't know how to survive at all. For this reason, the truth and the lies were arguing endlessly, and no one would accept the other, so I had to invite a guy named Shonen XCMG to We often crave the truth, but do not get the valuable truth. We often reject lies, but we often throw out lies insincerely, and often float in from the left ear. Some lies remain in the bottom of the brain, and some lie float out from the right ear. The words here are not limited to a certain language that a person speaks in person, but also cover the words, symbols, pictures, audio, video, and others left by him or her on print media and the internet. She entrusts others to convey the information. In the view of Shonen XCMG, body movements also belong to language, which is called body language. One of your eyes, a smile, a nod, a gesture, and even more actions convey a certain message to others. You blink, frown, smile, nod, wave your hand, and stamp your feet. All actions are a silent language in a specific country and a specific cultural background. For example, in China, if you nod your head, it means yes by default. If you shake your head like a rattle, it strongly means no. These two actions may be repeated by dumb people every day. Another example is that a friend comes from afar, and you stand somewhere far away and wave to others. At that moment, you have quickly conveyed your enthusiasm to your friend. Some people have relatively shallow morality. They obviously hate others, but they force their faces to smile when they meet. This kind of body language cloaked in truth is actually a lie, just like the idiom smile on the skin but don't laugh at the flesh. Some have deeper morality. He is more scheming, obviously hates others, but makes others feel happy when they meet. This kind of body language cloaked in truth is also a lie, just like the two idioms hide a knife in a smile and hide a needle in a cotton. The truth is the truth that you say to someone, the outside world or the media when you are loyal to your heart when you are unprepared, and you jump out naturally without thinking. However, this defense is difficult for many people, either hard to let go, or too suspicious, or accustomed to compliments, so he, she, may have been lying all his life. Another kind of truth is that you state exactly what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch that are faithful to objective existence. False, however, due to your cultural accomplishment, knowledge level, logical thinking ability, analysis ability, judgment ability, memory ability, and language expression ability, your statement will inevitably be mixed with lie. The truth is like the two idioms wrong and complicated and confusing, which requires wise men to see the truth, clarify the so-called lies, and directly hit the truth of the facts. In fact, there is no absolute truth, because the truth only serves interests. For example, when an octogenarian recalls the past, because his, her, memory is disturbed, he, she, may lie more than the truth. A lie is when you say something different from the truth for the purpose of deceiving others on the premise of knowing the truth, but a lie is not an antonym of the truth, because the truth exists objectively, and it does not depend on human will. It takes time for people to understand. The premise of identifying a lie is that there is a different truth in the liar's mind than what he said, and the premise is that this person is a normal person, not a mental patient. Based on this, if everything a liar says is completely consistent with the remaining memories in the person's mind, then what he, she, said cannot be called a lie. Generally speaking, lies have certain side effects on others, society, nation, and even the country. However, good faith and beautiful lies can bring benefits to people, because it can protect a certain person or even a group of people as much as possible for a period of time. But if time goes forward, maybe there will be a day when well-intentioned and beautiful lies will eventually become true lies, just like the saying paper can't wrap fire, and there happens to be a movie called The True Story Lie. In addition, everyone should not forget that this disguised silence is actually a form of expression of lies. When a lie needs face, politeness, and dignity, it becomes the truth that everyone knows well. For example, we always like to call a certain woman a beauty, in Cantonese, beautiful woman, when we are socializing, but in fact, that woman is not beautiful, maybe extremely ugly, which is unsightly, and others can only look at each other and smile, as if the beauty has become a woman a common name for public occasions. In the same way, we always like to call a man a handsome guy in Cantonese, when we are socializing, but in fact, that man is not handsome, maybe short and fat, which is offensive, and others can only look at each other and smile, as if handsome guy has become a unified title for men in public. Pretentious behavior is always accompanied by the phantom of lies. One is pretentiousness of strength, and the other is pretentiousness of falsehood. Pretentiousness of strength is actually the truth, but the illusion given to others is all lies. False pretense is almost all lies, in order to subtly transform all lies into truth in front of strangers. People who like flattery and sycophancy often lie in order to flatter others. At the beginning, he, she, speaks insincerely, and the more times he repeats, the higher the probability of disobedience. He, she, unconsciously takes it for granted, treat all lies as truth. As the saying goes, men chase women across a mountain, women chase men across a layer of paper. When in a relationship, when a man says I love you to a woman, the truth is wrapped in a lie. He may be interested in her family background or the social status of her parents. The lower the woman's appearance, the more lies the higher. When a woman says I love you to a man, the truth is also wrapped in a lie. She may be looking at his power, wealth, or social status. The lower the man's appearance, the lower the diploma, the lower the talent. The content of lies is also higher. A man in love often lies, witty remark, eloquence, coaxing a woman to smile like a flower. Don't forget, concealment is also a kind of lie. He will certainly conceal some truth. Men are not bad, women don't love. Men who lie are often more likely to catch up with women than honest men, because most of these lies are beautiful lies, and women love to hear them. For this reason, Li Day wrote a book called Men's Truth and Lies. Women in love also often lie. They are charming, tender, and considerate, making men mesmerized and fascinated. Don't forget that concealment is also a kind of lie. She will definitely conceal some truth. A woman who can lie is often more likely to please a man than a woman who can't lie. If a woman is willing to tie a man's stomach with superb cooking skills, then the sentence I love you she said before is absolutely true. True, just like the movie Double Food Tale. For this reason, Yan Xiaoluo wrote a book called Women's Truths and Lies. If a husband asks his wife, is the thing under me long? Is it thick? Is it hard? Is my bed good? Have you had an orgasm? In this case, the wife will usually send long, thick and hard. You are amazing, come on. The husband knows that these words are perfunctory, because most of the wives have only used their husband's reproductive organs in their lives. Without comparison, how can we talk about long, thick, and hard? Nevertheless, the husband is willing to take his wife's lies as the truth to satisfy his vanity. If a wife asks her husband, do you love me? Do I look good in this dress? Am I pretty? How is my makeup today? In this case, the husband will generally answer sending lies such as love, good looking, beautiful, and not bad. The wife knows that these words are to make herself happy, so she takes her husband's lies as the truth for granted to satisfy her own vanity. When a person suffers from schizophrenia, at this time, her mind has been deranged and his personality has been split. What he, she, said is actually all the truth, but in the eyes of people all over the world, it is all true. Lies, and there just so happens to be a movie called Face Changing. When a madman speaks nonsense, the whole world sees what he, she, says are all lies, but in fact, what he, she, says is almost all the truth. Almost everything a person says in his sleep is the truth. All his, her, secrets are hidden in these truths, but others cannot hear them. When he, she, wakes up the next day, even he, she, will no forget what I said last night. If a person is so stupid, you think that everything you say is the truth, but in fact it is all a lie. If a person is very clever, others will think that every word you say is a lie, but in fact it is all the truth. When a person maintains an independent personality, advocates free thought, and has an impeccable character, every word he, she, says is the truth, but such a person generally has a very difficult life in society, often associated with poverty and poverty. A person who is labeled as vain and flattering, has a right and wrong, is smooth and sophisticated, and so on. Most of what he, she, says is a lie, but such a person often goes smoothly in society and has the right and the wrong. Truth and lies are relative, not absolute. Sometimes there is a trace of lies in the truth, and sometimes there is a trace of truth in the lie. We might as well put it another way, truth and lies have purity, just like the alcohol concentration in liquor. There are almost no 100% truths, which may be mixed with a few percent lies. There are also no 100% lies, which may be mixed with a few percent truths. However, a wise man can always distinguish the few percent of the lies from the truth, and can also dig out the few percent of the truth from the lies. Children generally do not tell lies, and what he, she, says may not be pleasant or pleasing to hear, but this is where childishness lies, and it demonstrates the innocence of the child. If a child tells a lot of lies, this is a very terrible thing. You interpret it as a young man or old-fashioned. This is a kind of self-deception. When he or she grows up, he, she, is likely to become a burden in society or a ticking time bomb. Human nature likes to tell the truth, but people have a self-taught ability, that is, lying. This ability is either taught by others, or comprehended in practice, or learned in some. It is caused by the influence of the ears and eyes in the special environment. As people grow up, the younger they are, the higher the probability of telling the truth. As they grow older, the probability of telling lies increases day by day. When a person is struggling, such as adolescence, adulthood, and middle age, he or she lies almost more often than the truth. However, when a person is about to die in his later years, the ancients said, when a person is about to die, his words are good. When the oil lamp is about to burn out, it is almost all the truth, which is why many conscientious people like to write memoirs in their later years. He, she, needs to tell people all over the world before he or she dies things, such as Beijing's caprice. Generally speaking, compliments are mostly truth, compliments are mostly lies, private chats are mostly truth, group chats are mostly lies, most of them are truth in front of superiors, and lies in front of subordinates, most of them are truth in private occasions, it is mostly a lie in public, it is mostly the truth in front of family members, relatives, and friends, and it is mostly a lie in front of strangers, lovers, and partners. The truth has something to do with character. People with noble personalities basically tell the truth, and occasionally tell beautiful lies against their will, but they will never harm the interests of others. For example, Mr. Zhen Yangxiu, the first president of Nanfang Daily and former editor-in-chief of People's Publishing House, in that special era, in order to protect his colleagues, he classified himself as a rightist, just to complete the rigid quota distributed by the unit. He is really Chinese, a rare good man in the Communist Party. Lies are also related to character. A person with poor personality often tells a lot of lies. Although he, she, is comfortable in real life, he or she will always be despised and spurned by others after the dust settles. This is the kind of person. Regarding history books, truth and lies are equally divided, because the ancient literati had to submit to the ruling class, and it was to whitewash the police. Regarding biographies, if they are written by a person with a noble personality, they are almost all the truth. If they are written by a person with a low personality, there is too much bragging and showing off. Written by someone with a low personality, it is almost worthless to read. Telling the truth is a subconscious behavior of people, a natural neurological reflex, and there is no need to think too much at all. However, we often tell a bunch of lies awkwardly for some benefit or to cover up a certain behavior. If there is a logical error accidentally, we still need to lie, in order to justify ourselves and defend that what we said before is all the truth. On this point, the criminal suspect has achieved the ultimate, so people invented the polygraph, but the polygraph cannot identify the truth and the lie. It can only be used as an auxiliary tool to detect the case what physiological changes will occur when the psychology is stimulated, because when people lie, their psychological characteristics will change, such as increased blood pressure, shortness of breath and so on. If a person can stay calm and pass the polygraph test smoothly, and achieve Mount T collapses in front without changing color, and L thrives in the left without blinking, then this person is really terrible, just like the novel written by the writer Mai Jia, like the spies in the novel Assassination. At a certain dinner party, before the banquet began, there were more lies than the truth. After drinking for 3 rounds, the truth began to slowly overtake the lies. After everyone was drunk, everyone lost their defenses. The truth has finally taken over the absolute dominance, so the so-called drinking the truth is also true. However, when you don't know how much he's drinking, you think he's drunk, and you think he's telling the truth, but in fact it might be a lie, even if it's the truth. After sobering up the next day, he may deny what he said before, so the so-called truth becomes a lie that is difficult to fulfill. For a dishonest person, no matter how many truths he, she, has spoken before, as long as he or she denies them afterwards, all the truths will become lies. For a person who pays attention to integrity, no matter how many truths he, she, has said before, he, she, will definitely do what he, she, afterwards, and defend that truth with practical actions. Just like a gentleman's words are hard to follow, if he, she, finds out that the truth spoken before turned out to be a lie, he, she, will also use practical actions to correct the so-called lie to the truth. There is a law of life called the Goebbels effect. Goebbels was the propaganda minister of Nazi Germany and the right-hand man of Hitler, the leader of the Nazi party. He once had a notorious quote, a lie repeated 1,000 times becomes the truth. In other words, a lie can be transformed into the truth, as long as it is repeated repeatedly. Coincidentally, there is an illusion in China about the murder of Zheng Shen, which verifies the Goebbels effect. According to Warring States Policy Qin policy records, once upon a time, Zheng Zhi lived in Fei County, and there was a man with the same name as Zheng Zhi in Fei County who killed someone. Someone said to Zheng's mother, "Zheng Shen killed someone." Zheng Shen's mother said, "My son can't kill someone." She was still weaving freely. After a while, someone came up and said, "Zheng Shen has killed someone." His mother was still able to weave. Soon, another person came and told her, "Zheng Shen has killed someone." Finally his mother was frightened, and she dropped the shuttle and jumped over the wall to escape. In this story, Zheng Yu was in a state of rejection at the beginning, gradually agreed in the middle, and finally controlled by accumulated hints, leading to escape over the wall, so that the lie succeeded, and the lie finally revealed its ferocious face. What's interesting is that if you tell too many lies, when you are willing to tell the truth one day, your so-called truth will lies in the eyes of others, and you will finally pay an incalculable loss for integrity, and even your life. The price, such as the story of Aesop's fable The Wolf is Coming. Everyone likes to hear good things rather than bad things. This is the nature of human beings. As everyone knows, if you hear too many good things, it will blind your eyes, affect your judgment, reduce your wisdom, and hinder you. Step forward. If you can filter out the truth that suits you from bad words, then you are a smart person, just like loyal words are good for deeds when they hurt the ear, and good medicine is good for the disease when it tastes bitter. Generally speaking, the truth is not so beautiful because it reveals the cruelty of reality, and the content of articles piled up with beautiful words is often untrue and unreliable, just as Lao Tzu said in Tao Te Ching 80. It is said in one chapter, "Believe in words is not beautiful, and good words are not believed." Those who are good do not argue, and those who argue are not good. Those who know do not know well, and those who know well do not know. Sages do not accumulate. There are more people. When a person is too stupid and lacks his own opinion, he, she, will often be led by the nose by other people's lies, thus becoming a puppet of lies. For example, in the fairy tale The Emperor's New Clothes by the Danish writer Andersen, in order to cover up their ignorance, the king's officials all said that they could see this dress. When the king held a parade ceremony naked, and innocent, the ignorant child finally uttered the truth: he didn't wear anything. When a person is forced by other people's power or coercion, he, she, will also lie involuntarily. There is one in China. The idiom is called referring to a deer as a horse. Zhao Gao brought a deer and planned to present it to Hu Hai, the second emperor of Qin. He deliberately turned black and white in front of the emperor, confused right and wrong, and insisted on calling the deer a horse. In order to cater to Zhao Gao, some ministers spread lies. Also echoed that it was a horse. Of course, those who tell the truth will have dire consequences, and they will be framed by Zhao Gao. When you have the power of life and death, when you can manipulate others in your hands, others can only tell you the truth, otherwise, he, she, will bear the punishment caused by lies. For example, the emperor in the feudal era of China, if a minister told a lie, the emperor could kill him for the crime of deceiving the emperor. In addition, there is that silent language, the imperial decree. If the minister resists the decree and does not obey it, he will be killed if he does not implement it. Man is an advanced animal with a particularly developed nervous system. Man can use his mouth to spout the so-called truth, which is actually a lie, because what he thinks in his heart is not consistent with what he says, but the truth is completely based on the truth. The inner heart is the criterion for judging, just like the idiom duplicity. If what you think in your heart is exactly the same as what you say, then of course it is the truth, just like the idiom words and deeds match. However, the human heart is completely invisible, incomprehensible, and intangible. That's why there are such sayings as the human heart is separated from the belly and the road is far away to know the horsepower, and the time is long to see the heart. If everyone agrees that a certain person's city is extremely deep, then this person is really scary. For example, Sima Yi of Wei State during the Three Kingdoms period, from his body language and speech, you have no idea what he was thinking in his heart, and his body language and speech were almost all lies in front of Qingbei. When B is evaluating A's works, literary works, personal works, academic papers, inventions, patented technologies, project plans, calligraphy works, paintings, music works, singing skills, playing skills, graphic design, space design, sculpture works, dances, acrobatics, etc. B's aesthetic level is really not flattering. What B said is of course the truth, but in fact most of them are lies. Compared with A, regardless of B's aesthetic level, if B has some purpose, such as jealousy, repulsion, prudence, protection, or wanting to gain some benefits from it, or to replace moderation in a silent way, then what B said most likely a lie. Sometimes the truth is often wrapped in lies, and sometimes lies are often wrapped in the truth. People with high EQ can always hear the implication, that is, there is something in the words of the person concerned, but people with low EQ are always disgusting. For example, when you are a guest at someone's home for the first time, when the host looks at his watch from time to time, and then says how time flies. It's already 9 o'clock in the evening. Of course the host's statement is true when compared with the clock words, but compared with his, her, heart, it is a lie, because he, she, hopes that the guest will leave here as soon as possible, that is, he, she, intends to see the guest off. If you are a smart person, you should be able to tell what the host is thinking, so you pick up the topic wisely and say, really? I can't leave, I really disturbed you. As for people with low EQ, they can't listen to it at all. Overtones, you might say foolishly, oh, really? It's still early. For a certain matter, some people are willing to tell the truth, but in fact it is the truth, it is a complete lie from the beginning to the end. Some people intend to protect A and give up B, so those who are beneficial to A will tell lies, and those who are harmful to B will tell the truth, and the truth about B is likely to be a lie woven by its people on the spur of the moment. In this complex labyrinth of truth and lies, we all seem to be idiots, unable to clarify the truth at all, so this matter has become an unsolved case. For example, the Japanese movie Rashomon said that the situation. Rumors must be lies. Most of them are out of A's intention to slander or revenge against B. People who don't know the truth like to hear rumors and spread rumors. In the current popular internet language, such people are people who eat melons. However, rumors only belong to the wise, and rumors will be self-defeating when they meet wise people. For the parties involved, the smartest way is to put these lies on the shelf. Of course, if you have a set of effective crisis public relations handling methods, that would be great. In the sea of literature, there are often so-called lies, big words, empty words, and stereotypes that come out of someone's mouth. We can name these 4 kinds of words as Guanhua. Of course, Guanhua serves politics, and it is temporarily inconvenient to define it as truth or lie. It takes time to be the judge. Over time, if these official words are really fulfilled, then it is the truth. If these official words ultimately fail, then it is a lie. However, the appraisal time is often relatively long, and we may have passed away before the appraisal result. All of the above are written by Su Gong in southern Hunan. It is said that in this materialistic era, he is a person who specializes in concocting spiritual food. This article is purely his perception of life, incorporating his in-depth thinking. Although what he said is not the truth, it has the effect of throwing bricks to attract jade. Finally, he made a solemn promise to readers who liked him, I guarantee that what I have written is all the truth. In the status quo of modern families, father is just a reflection. This phenomenon is called pseudo-single mother. Men and women sitting at both ends of the scale are thinking about how to maintain the balance of marriage. Men can never understand women. Most of us grow up in a mold and grow into what society wants us to be. We are enslaved by many things in our lives, one of which is drugs. Most people are fueling the destruction of the planet. Everyone is a puppet led by time. The longer you live, the thicker your skin becomes. What the eyes see is actually what the brain wants us to see. Most people are self-centered. If there is no restraint, we will only fall worse. The outside world is indeed wonderful, but we can't have wings like birds, and we can fly wherever we want. While mobile phones bring us convenience, they have also become a dangerous item. Our minds are like captive birds. Although we are all born in dust and end in dust, the process of being alive is a beautiful dance. Everyone grows in different directions, so finding a partner who matches you is difficult. Overpasses are one of the great inventions of mankind. You think you have independent thinking, but in fact this is just the result of being brainwashed. Is money our stepping stone upward? It seems to be free, but it is actually controlled by others. Many people blindly follow the guidance of so-called experts. If you accumulate too many tears, one day the embankment will burst. Although the wheel of history is constantly moving forward, the things in it are just going round and round. What makes us overwhelmed is nothing but a pile of scrap metal. The power of nature cannot be stopped by humans.